cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. So the waters symbolize different kinds of giving. Now, if you want to know that is true, go to the next verse. Verse number 2 says, give. So cast your bread is give. Upon many waters talks about different portions of giving. Give a serving to 7 and also to 8, for you do not know what evil will be on the face of the earth. I don't want to get into that. Now we go to verse 3. If the clouds are full, now how many of you discover he's building progressively? Now go to verse 1 so that we begin this on a good note. Go to verse 1. So verse 1 is a figurative language. When you talk about giving, he said, cast your bread. Cast your bread. Upon many waters. So the bread, I said, what is happening today, Pastor? Mashetani. Okay. The bread, I said, is your income, your provision. Income, provision, what comes in, what you have at hand, all that comes under the bread. What, as I talked about, different kinds of giving. I also talked about different places, right? I also talked about different people. So we have places, people, and we have places, people, kinds. A lot of things I said I don't want to go into. So cast your bread upon waters. The word cast here is the word give. Cast your bread is your income. Of course, we read scriptures like him who gives seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So bread is what has come from the seed. So bread is what you're supposed to eat. This is like your income. This is what you have, what you're supposed to enjoy. So when you say cast your bread, that is your income, your provision, your bread. And the word cast here, casting bread here, is the word giving. So this is verse 1, right? This is verse 1. Then verse 2. Verse 2 says, give. So verse 2 interprets verse 1, gives an interpretation to this, and he says, give. And then now he talks about 7 and 8. I said that this talks about portions, right? 7 and 8. So cast your bread is actually giving. Upon many waters, in verse 2 he says, give a serving to 7 and a serving to 8. For you do not know what evil will be on the face of the earth. Look at verse number 3. He says this, that this process of giving, he explains it in verse 3 by saying, if the clouds are full, they will empty themselves upon the earth, and if a tree falls to the south. Now let's stay with the clouds. If the clouds are full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. So what he's telling us in verse number 3 is that all this that we are doing, we are bringing one and one together. We are bringing this and this together, because we know that for the clouds to be full of rain, there is evaporation. Something leaves earth. Evaporation does not take place all at once. It is a process. And then when something leaves earth and it is enough up there, it rains and comes back to earth. So he's using that process to explain how giving works. So that no matter how much of a dunderhead you are, if you cannot understand it literally, you can understand it scientifically. He's trying to reach all kinds of people. So he says when the clouds now are full of rain, what happens is they empty themselves where? On the earth.